The Beast Within, based on The Island of Dr. Moreau, Moreau, by H.G. Wells, 1896. The salt spray stung my face as I gripped the ship's rail, watching the distant island grow larger against the crimson sunset. Captain Davies had warned me about this place. Whispered tales of strange sounds echoing across the water on moonless nights, of supply ships that returned with crews pale and shaken. But scientific curiosity had always been my weakness, and Dr. Moreau's reputation as a brilliant, if controversial researcher had drawn me here despite every instinct screaming otherwise. As our small boat approached the crude wooden dock, I noticed the peculiar silence that hung over the island like a shroud. No bird songs, no rustle of wind through leaves, just an oppressive quiet that seemed to press against my eardrums. The native crew who had brought me this far refused to set foot on shore, their dark eyes wide with a fear that transcended mere superstition. Dr. Moreau himself greeted me at the dock, his tall frame casting a long shadow in the dying light. His appearance shocked me. This was not the distinguished gentleman I had expected, but a wild-eyed figure with unkempt hair and clothes stained with substances I dared not identify. His handshake was firm, almost painful, and his smile revealed teeth that seemed too sharp, too predatory. "Welcome to my sanctuary," he said, his voice carrying an odd cadence, as if he was suppressing some deeper emotion. "I trust your journey was educational." As he led me up the winding path toward his compound, I became aware of eyes watching us from the dense foliage. Not human eyes, I realized with growing unease, but something else entirely, intelligent, calculating, yet fundamentally alien to human experience. Shapes moved just beyond the edge of vision, keeping pace with us through the undergrowth. The laboratory, when Moreau finally showed it to me, defied description. Tables lined with instruments that seemed designed for purposes I couldn't fathom, tanks filled with murky liquids, and the overwhelming stench of chemicals mixed with something organic and disturbing. But it was the sounds that truly unsettled me. Low moaning that seemed to come from beneath the floor, punctuated by sharp cries that were neither fully animal nor human. "Progress," Moreau explained, noting my expression, "requires sacrifice. The boundary between man and beast is not as fixed as society would have us believe. I merely adjust the parameters." That first night, lying in the small guest quarters Moreau had provided, I listened to the sounds that emerged from the jungle after dark. Footsteps that walked upright but with an unnatural gait. Voices that attempted human speech but failed in subtle, horrifying ways. And beneath it all, a constant undercurrent of barely suppressed wildness. I should have left the next morning. Every rational thought demanded I find passage away from this accursed place. But Moreau's work had a terrible fascination, and I found myself drawn deeper into his experiments, witnessing transformations that challenged everything I believed about the natural order. The creatures he had made, for that's what they were, despite his protests that he was merely revealing hidden potentials, lived in a constant state of tension between their imposed humanity and their underlying nature. They spoke his carefully taught laws like prayers, desperately clinging to behavioral patterns that felt as foreign to them as wings would to a fish. "The law," they would chant when gathered in their crude village, "not to go on all fours, not to suck up drink, not to eat flesh or fish." But I saw the hunger in their eyes, the way their carefully maintained postures would slip when they thought no one was watching. Moreau had created not men, but tragic parodies of humanity, creatures forever trapped between two worlds and belonging fully to neither. Wells' masterpiece remains essential reading, because it forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about human nature and scientific progress. Written in 1896, the novel anticipated many of the ethical dilemmas we face today regarding genetic manipulation, animal experimentation, and the boundaries of scientific inquiry. The story serves as both thrilling adventure and philosophical warning, questioning what truly separates civilization from barbarism. More than a century later, The Island of Dr. Moreau continues to resonate because it explores timeless themes of identity, evolution, and moral responsibility. Wells doesn't merely entertain, he challenges readers to examine their own assumptions about humanity's place in the natural order and the dangers of unchecked ambition in the pursuit of knowledge.